Even though Waraka had identified and announced to Khadija that Muhammad was the prophet for Arabia, there are lots of other interesting events in his life which would amuse anybody knowing a bit of Islam and the way it turned out to be. Keep watching the roller coaster ride of Muhammad after his marriage to Khadija.
The life in Muhammad's new family with Khadija was not as smooth as many Muslims would like to think. In fact, his mental issues became more serious. He started getting more secluded and went to the mountains and caves even for much longer duration. Remember that Khadija had children from her earlier marriage as well. But Muhammad never had any interest for the running of the business of Khadija. Waraka was the real inspiration for many of Muhammad's initial revelation.
My cousin, you must help us.
I will help you, Khadija. I will make a book for him. It will be a mix between some versions from the Torah and some versions from the New Testament, and mix them into false verses.
While the biblical prophets got direct commands from God, giving them specific messages to be delivered to the people, we have this particular prophet from Arabia who has been pushed up by the family of his in-laws as the prophet, and therefore needs assurance time and again. Even then, there was never any communication from God at any point in time, whereas the biblical prophets proved their authenticity by performing supernatural miracles that convinced the people of their genuinity. Muhammad ran away from the people who asked him to perform signs and miracles. We are well aware of the events in the life of Muhammad where he used to see and hear things which can be considered as psychiatric in nature. Do you remember those things that happened in his childhood in Halima's care? If you have not watched the earlier videos of the series, please do click on the link of the playlist in the description box to watch the previous episodes. All the theatrics of cover-up by Khadija and Waraka to make him a prophet never healed him, rather it made him more of a secluded, dreamy person. This possession never left him, rather it took on different forms. There are hadiths which speak of him hearing the ringing of bells, and as a result of the shock treatment by the spirit, he used to sweat profusely even in very cold day or night. Surely there was a spirit which possessed him. The nature of the spirit which possessed him is something we need to analyze as we proceed. We have additional references from the Tabaqat, where it says that he had a very traumatic period when the spirit possesses him. It says that he suffered much pain, and his face turned dust-colored. In another instance, it says that the incident left him so fatigued as if overcome by sleep. Just imagine the torment he used to undergo. Even the animals around him used to be adversely affected by this spirit possession. The paragraph reads as follows: I witnessed the revelation coming to the prophet, may Allah bless him. While he was riding his beast, it screamed and contracted its 4 legs, and I thought they would break. Sometimes it sat and sometimes it stood up, straightening its 4 legs till the burden of the revelation was gone, and the prophet got down from it like a string of pearl. Notice this incident. He is scared to death by the spirit which inflicts him with unimaginable torment. He runs to Khadija, requesting her to cover him up, but Tabari seems to ignore the details of what happens after that. This is captured by Ibn Ishaq in his book called The Life of Muhammad, where the spirit which he claims to be Gabriel is following him to his house, and Khadija does certain experiments showing her exposed thigh and face to remove the influence of the spirit from Muhammad. This movie clip gives a short summary of how the event transpired in the room of Khadija.
Do you see him? Put your head between my thighs. Do you see the devil still?
Yeah.
Now do you see him?
He's gone. Khadija, he's gone. How have you done this?
In a biblical sense, this is nothing but demon possession. This demon-possessed person needs deliverance like the one who was delivered from the possession of demons by Jesus in the Gerasenes. He too led a secluded life among tombs and on the mountains, trying to injure himself. Remember how Muhammad used to attempt suicide when he felt desperate? Only Jesus can deliver such a person. And instead of that, Khadijah and Waraka anointed him as a prophet, making his life even more miserable. When Muhammad was around 40, that is 15 years after his marriage to Khadijah, and constantly hearing that he is a prophet of Allah whenever he is attacked by this demonic spirit, he finally announced that he is the prophet of Allah. We can read that in Sirat Halabiyah Volume 2 page 114. Then Muhammad describes the event in which Jibreel comes before him and squeezes his neck demanding him to read. This is the context of Surah 96, where Muslims believe that Al-Alaq started getting revealed for Quran chapter 96. When Khadijah heard this from Muhammad, that Gabriel is constantly following him, she could not control her feelings. She suddenly rushed to Waraka to share the news which he has been telling since some time. When Waraka heard it, he too became excited that his trick worked on Muhammad. He told her that this is the same Gabriel who came to Moses. Interestingly, there is no mention of Gabriel in the life of Moses as per the Torah. Anyhow, he asked Khadijah to keep telling him that he is the prophet of the people of Arabia. Muslim historians have tried their level best to convince that the name of Gabriel is new to the people of Arabia, therefore the encounter with the angel of God is genuine. This assumption is so far from the truth as East is from the West. Gabriel was a known name of the angel of God among the Jews and Christians, therefore it is quite natural that the name of Gabriel is also known to the pagans. In fact, the Bible has just two names of the angels of God, Michael and Gabriel. And as Waraka was a new convert, he is the one who toyed with the idea of Gabriel as the spirit that tormented Muhammad. Notice this hadith where the idols of Abraham and Ishmael were also available inside the Kaaba. This shows that the stories of Abraham and the Jews were common folklores. Whatever we see in Quran has a twist coming from stories which existed before Islam and Muhammad. We all know about the Miraj flight of Muhammad on the Buraq. It is not a new story. Let me show you how little Aisha was the one who injected this idea into the Prophet. This is a conversation between Aisha and the Prophet of Islam, which we get in the hadith of Sunan Abi Dawood. He asked,
"What is this?"
She replied,
"My dolls."
Among them he saw a horse with wings made of rags and asked,
"What is this I see among them?"
She replied,
"A horse?
He asked,
"What is this that it has on it?"
She replied,
2 wings.
He asked,
"A horse with 2 wings."
She replied,
Have you not heard that Solomon had horses with wings?"
She said, Thereupon the messenger of Allah laughed so heartily that I could see his molar teeth. Now coming back to Muhammad becoming a prophet, it is believed in Islamic circles that Waraka was a Christian scholar who used to translate the Bible to Arabic, and hence Waraka assumed that the supposed prophet from that supposed Bible was Muhammad. As time passes, the old man Waraka dies. Remember that Waraka was never a Muslim, and the death of Waraka caused great grief to Muhammad. Why did the Prophet of Islam mourn so deeply at the death of a non-Muslim? Have you thought of it? He will no longer get any of those words he used to get to utter his prophecies. At that time, Muhammad realizes that the cornerstone of his prophetic ministry was pulled away, and he is all alone now. We see him attempting suicide after the death of Waraka. Why is he going to this extreme? Is he afraid that now, without the presence of Waraka, his trick will be found out and be exposed? Or was he confused as Waraka was his real Gabriel, who used to give him revelations? My personal thought is that Muhammad got used to this spirit that possessed him and started using that spirit to intimidate and control people in the name of Islam. Dear Muslims, do you think that there is any genuinity in all these things done by Muhammad and Waraka? Didn't all his friends join him for some of their own selfish reasons? When the people of Muhammad's time were not ready to give their lives for Muhammad, why do you? Why is it that the brainwash has worked upon you? Think. think again. I would like to end this video with a challenge to our Muslim friends. The challenge is this: send me 5 good things practiced by Muhammad in his lifetime, which any person can follow for a better life. It has to be appealing to the conscience of all humans and should be exclusive to the life of the Prophet. I am reiterating again, these 5 things should have been practiced by the Prophet of Islam, not just said, but practiced. Go ahead and put those things in the comment section.
We have come to the end of this video. If you have liked the content, please do punch the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget to click on the bell icon that will make sure that you are notified of all our latest videos. Till we meet again, may the good Lord bless you and keep you.